Israel been giving technology to the Chinese Communist Party as well. And now the CCP is supporting Hamas. And basically Israel has been like fighting against itself. And that's the same case like the United States and the West. The United States still have $7 trillion invested in Chinese Communist parties, which is confiscated at any point. And also he talked about Saudi Arabia. He talked about the Middle East, Iran. And now Saudi Arabia, Egyptians, Saudis been like asking Xi to give them the technology, to give them the balloons and give them the P3 labs, the biological weapons. And also Saudi Arabia has been collaborating with Xi since last year, the internationalization, kick out US dollar, demolish, get rid of the petrodollar, and basically have this barter trade between like Saudi's oil and Chinese arms. And we know now like 50% of the national defense is from the CCP, no longer US. And once Saudi is an ally for the US, but now it seems like things are changing. Like Miles said, CCP's end goal is to replace United States as a global superpower or a global leader. Everyone can go verify that. But if they have all these installations underground, command centers, all the military facilities underground, for example, hospitals, schools in China, and gas storage factories or whatever. And what's the purpose? They call it the civilian military fusion project. One part of it is they have all these installations very close to civilian facilities as a way to deter military rivals. When hot war happened, they would not dare to attack because that's going to be a massacre of civilians. And we saw the same tactics used by Hamas. So basically that proves that CCP is the same as Hamas. They're all terrorist groups and they use the same tactics. And when you look at all these tunnels buried underground and all these command centers, it's basically the same. And CCP built that for what? CCP built that for its own protection. And CCP also have very sophisticated bunkers underground. Actually, you can go to nfscofficial.com. We have all the classified documents there. If you click on any of them, you'll see lots of links linked to PDF documents. These are the information brought by members from New Federal State in China. They risk their lives to give us all these military information documents.
This was provided to us by a very brave whistleblower, and he later safely escaped communist China. I don't know where he is right now, but he's safe and sound with his family. And he shared with us thousands of original documents, which verified all to be true. That's why we put it on the website to share with everything. So these are the military, these so-called defense facilities. But as Miles Guo previously said on live streaming, the value of the NFSC is really we share a lot of critical informations and intels that the West might miss because lack of maybe a culture or language or many other barriers, the interpretation of some of those intels might be not completely accurate. So with the New Federal State of China, with our understanding of the CCP and particularly Miles Guo's insights in terms of leaders, those crucial individual leaders of the CCP, our interpretations in the last almost 7 years, 6.5 years have been 99% accurate. When Xi was chosen in 18th Congress, National Congress, he wasn't chosen by the people. He was a compromised choice from the other two factions. So Youth League faction and the Shanghai Gang or Zhang faction say, yeah, he seems the least, threatening people to both of us. Okay, I agree. Although I don't like him, I plan him only stay there for one term and he will be gone. And then let's just pick him. So Xi came into power as a stooge. You have to understand that. People has already plotted against him, and he's going to just be there holding the seats for 5 years until other things checked out and matured. They will put their men in the seat. But she noticed that when she took the power, she looked around, she said, nobody have my best interest. I have to fight. I have to survive. So under this totalitarian, authoritarian, communist dictatorship, no one is safe, even though you made it to the top. Like Hu Jintao, look at him. Look at his grandson. His grandson was kidnapped by Xi. So Hu Jintao cannot do anything.
Yeah, if you see that picture, actually right after, like his whole family, over 60 people were arrested. So basically we want to say, if you want to understand what's like a communism to its extreme is like, you should just look at China. Look at CCP control China. Basically, they just arrest and purge and disappear and suicide their political rivals. And that's exactly why we're talking about the CCP's infiltration in the West and especially in the United States, because we see a pattern that in the United States, in the West, like we're speeding towards that ending.
The IDF spokesperson basically reviewed the headquarters of Hamas that actually located underneath the hospital. They actually made a 3D model, and they have a direct evidence in terms of the exits buried underneath the hospital. So that tells you that we're dealing with extreme wicked terrorist groups, and no different than the Chinese Communist Party. The Mile School reviewed in July 18th in 2022 talk about what the CCP has planned in China regarding their military facilities. They are all located in the most populated area in the cities, and particularly underneath the kindergartens, the schools, the nursing homes, and hospitals. So we will see the exactly copying of the Hamas terrorists are doing, and basically they kidnap, hijacking those civilians, using them as human shields, and hoping to, through their propaganda and social media outlets, to spreading those disinformation and condemning on the Israelis' attack on their civilians. I think these are tactics used again and again by those terrorist groups. So we have to call it out and see it through. Yeah, that's exactly the video that I'm talking about. This is where the headquarters is located underneath the hospital, and which they have direct evidence to show people that this is the essence of the terrorist groups is planning on using their people, the Palestinians, against the free world.
After Xi came into power, he basically just purged everyone. He just arrested, like, I think maybe millions of CCP members. He had this draconian zero-COVID policies, which is devastating on the CCP's economy and also the welfare of all the Chinese people. And lots of people die. Lots of people lost their jobs. 200 million young people are unemployed. The economy is collapsing, the real sector and banking system gonna collapse. And also, like, Xi is leading China into the Cultural Revolution 2.0. Basically drive all the investment. If you look at the chart from 2020 until now, like the foreign investment dropped like 95%. 100 billion to 500 or something. And now there's gonna be a kaboom on real estate sector and the banks. And now they're having the digital RMB is basically just driving people back to the Great Leap Forward, era where you have very limited resources and distributed, totally controlled by the government. And people are going to be extremely poor. But now they use this modernized way. They use the blockchain or digital currency. Basically, they can control every single penny, where every single penny is going to go. And also, you remember, like the former premier Li Keqiang used to say, I think it's a couple of years ago, he said it in public. Li Keqiang said, over 600 million people earn less than $140 a month. Remember, he was the premier in China, right? Mm-hmm. So then everybody started to realize, because like you said, the firewall, the censorship everywhere, nobody knows what's going to happen. Now we see a lot of people are commemorating this premier because he used to say something is true. And also he's kind of like more pro-democracy or pro-like economic growth or whatever. But they're all kleptocrats, right? His family is very corrupt as well. But in comparison with Xi, the demonic dictator, like who killed many people and released a virus and used the vaccine, like killed so many people, have this zero COVID policy, he's comparably, better. So basically the people right now, it's very interesting. They are using this way to express their dissatisfaction of Xi. It also happened in 1989 June 4th incidents, before the June 4th incidents, before the CCP killed tens of thousands of students on Tiananmen Square, used machine guns and tanks.
Yeah, these are quiet way of expressing the people's anger and resentment, because there's no way of safely, openly criticize the government because they will be arrested, by the law enforcement. So they're terrorized. By sending the flower, by putting the flower down to commemorate the past premier, the former premier, is a way to basically expressing their anger.